For more theory videos, visit my website. If you find this video helpful, please let me know. Organizational culture refers to the way in which members of an organization relate to each other, their work, and the outside environment in comparison to other organizations. Culture is the way we do things around here. It is a set of normal behaviors. Organizational culture depends on an organization's size, physically in terms of number of employees or in terms of turnover figures. Technology. What are the attitudes to innovation? How do they adapt to new working methods? Diversity. For example, product range, geographical spread, cultural makeup of stakeholders. Age. Years in business, degree of manager's experience. History. What has worked in the past? Previous success and failures. Ownership. Number and type of shareholders. The cultural web is not likely to be examined in paper F1, but it is a good way of looking at how organizational culture develops. You will come across it later in your ACCA studies, so I'll introduce it here to emphasize organizational culture. Stories are told by members of the organization to one another, to outsiders, to new recruits, and so on. They typically have to do with success, disasters, heroes, villains, and mavericks. Who and what the organization choose to immortalize says a great deal about what it values as great behavior. Symbols visually represent the company. They might be logos, slogans, badges, titles, privileges, and so forth. Power structure. The most powerful groups and individuals within the organization are likely to be more associated with the core assumptions and beliefs of the organization. Organizational structure. To a large extent, the organizational structure chart reflects or points to the power within an organization and the relationships that might exist between individuals and groups. Control systems. These are things which get measured or monitored either systematically or more informally. For example, financial systems and clocking in and out systems. What is important to the organization should be measured. Rituals and routines are the daily behaviors and actions of the people that signal acceptable behavior in the organization. They are the things that make up the way we do things around here on a day-to-day basis. Mission statements outline the broad direction of an organization. Therefore, a mission statement can guide an organization's culture. Schein's 3 levels of culture: artifacts, espoused values, and assumptions. Artifacts are an organization's visual structures and business processes. Physical things seen, like the organizational chart, which shows who reports to who, the organization's dress code, office sizes, whether a manager has a personal assistant, and so forth. They give an immediate sense of the organization's culture. Espoused values are the organization's strategies, goals, and vision. They are the organization's publicly known values. It is how members represent the organization, for example, the mission statement. Basic underlying assumptions and beliefs. These are more difficult to identify as they are embedded, taken for granted behaviors which are often on an unconscious level. They are the ultimate source of values and actions for the organization. Handy's 4 classes of culture: power, role, task, and person. In an organization with a power culture, power radiates from just a few individuals, whose influence spread throughout the organization. This type of culture can be found in small or entrepreneurial organizations, where there are few rules and little bureaucracy. This makes decision-making swift. In an organization with role culture, people have clearly delegated authorities within a highly defined structure. Role-based cultures are common in bureaucratic organizations, for example, the government. People are highly controlled and follow predetermined procedures without questioning their purpose. Everyone knows their roles and responsibilities. Role cultures typically have a tall, detailed organisational structure. As a consequence, decision-making may be slow. Task culture are formed when project-based teams are established in an organisation. These teams are used to address a specific problem, and nothing is allowed to get in the way of addressing their goals. There is no single power source. Power shifts depending on the mix and expertise of the team members. Task culture is suitable for rapidly changing organisations. Matrix organisations are an example of task culture. Person culture. In an organisation with person culture, individuals see themselves as unique and superior to the organisation. The organisation simply exists for the individual to work. Common in firms of professionals such as accountants and lawyers, the organisation is full of people with similar training, background and expertise. Power lies in each group or individual. The success of a person culture organisation depends on retaining key personnel. Hofstede's international perspective on culture. Hofstede attempted to identify how national culture influences business behaviour using a structure derived from factor analysis. Hofstede's theory looks at the unique aspects of culture, how they interact with each other based on different categories of cultural dimensions, and rates them on a scale for comparison. The different dimensions are power dimension. This dimension expresses the degree to which the less powerful members of society accept and expect that power is distributed unequally. With a high power distance dimension, managers expect to be powerful. With a low power distance dimension, staff expect to be involved in decision making. Individualism versus collectivism. This division focuses on the question about whether people prefer a close-knit network of people or prefer to be left alone. With a high individualism dimension, staff expect to be assessed on their own merits. With a low individualism dimension, staff expect to be assessed in groups. Masculinity versus femininity. Masculinity represents a preference in society for achievement, heroism, assertiveness, and material reward for success. Its opposite, femininity, stands for a preference for cooperation, modesty, caring for the weak, and quality of life. In a high masculinity dimension, there tends to be a large distinction between gender roles, and staff are motivated by work, power, and success. In a low masculinity dimension, there is little distinction between gender roles, and staff are motivated by quality of life. Uncertainty avoidance. This dimension expresses the degree to which the members of a society feels uncomfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity. In a high uncertainty avoidance or indulgent dimension, focus is on enjoying life and having fun. In a low uncertainty avoidance or restraint dimension, there are strict social norms to follow. Long-term versus short-term orientation. Long-term orientation dimensions can be interpreted as dealing with society's search for virtue. Focus is on future rewards and the ability to adapt. Societies with short-term orientation generally have a strong concern with establishing the absolute truth. Focus is on respect of tradition, social obligation, and saving face. For more theory videos, visit my website. If you found this video helpful, please let me know.